A few years ago, Porsche took a modified version of their Le Mans winning race car to iconic circuits around the world and obliterated the lap records. Why did they do it? Just because they could, and honestly, it was pretty cool. But we're here today at Daytona Milton Keynes to do the karting version of that challenge in this 50 horsepower KZ gearbox car. But what exactly is the target time we're aiming to beat today? There are two types of kart that normally race at Daytona Milton Keynes: the 4-stroke Sodi karts and the faster 2-stroke D-Max karts. Some extremely quick drivers have set times in both, even some names you might recognise. But the fastest lap ever recorded was this 1 minute 3.638 set by Jack Stewart. That's the target we're aiming to beat today. But here's the thing, Porsche didn't follow the rulebook when they set their records. They didn't need to. And neither do we. We're going to be running this kart at an ultra-light 150 kilograms. We've got no lead and we're going to run low fuel. We're also using super sticky tyres. Some used ones for the first practice run and then some brand new rubber for the full-on lap record attempt. Finally, we're going to have no other karts on track. I've got the entire circuit to myself here at Daytona Milton Keynes, so no traffic can get in our way on our fastest lap. Just like Porsche, the only rule we're following today is to go as fast as possible.
Before I was let loose in the KZ, I thought it would be a good idea to get some practice laps in using the karts that normally drive at this track.
This is a 270cc Sodi kart, among the fastest 4-stroke rental karts you can drive in the UK. It weighs around 230 kilograms with the driver and produces about 10 horsepower. And for most people, this would feel like a seriously quick machine around this circuit. As you can see, being a rental kart, it has to be protected from all the bumps and scrapes that it's going to take every single day out there with the general public driving it. And those kind of things do add to the weight, but they keep it robust and it means it can last through races like the Daytona 24 Hours, which takes place at this circuit.
Now these karts don't come with lap time as a standard, but as you can see here, I've got the Mocadamo Kart Buddy fitted so I can pick up my lap times with predictive timing for this whole session. This system is designed to fit on most rental kart steering wheels, and it's a great way of making the most of your practice time without having to just guess and hope whether or not your laps were faster. So here we go then, the 4-stroke 270cc Sodi kart, and being 4-stroke, they've got plenty of torque, and that really helps get you out of the corners, even if you have to slow down for corners like this, a hairpin. And I'll tell you what, they're not slow on the straight either. This kart will be going over 70 kilometers an hour down Daytona's back straight here. And when you're sitting this close to the ground and you're this close to the barriers, that feels extremely fast. For me, this is a great warm-up today to try and get used to the circuit again. The last time I was here was for the Daytona 24 Hours. Although it looks like nothing's changed, it's always good to familiarise yourself with the track again, especially when we're trying to set the fastest lap that's ever been done on this circuit. Okay, tyres are going to start coming up to temperature now. We're going to start our first flying lap. Now at 70 kilograms, I'm not remotely light enough to set the outright lap record in one of these karts around here. And we're only doing a couple of laps today as a warm-up, so don't expect any miracles. But what I love is I can already see on the dashboard my predictive time here, with the race box connected to the Mocadamo Kart Buddy, showing me exactly what it thinks my lap time's going to be by the end of this lap. Lost a bit of time out of that hairpin. I'm going to have to be careful not to do that when we're out in the KZ on our lap record run. We're improving on this second flying lap. I need to try and be accurate with the apexes and not lose any time by running wide. In a kart like this, it's crucial to keep your momentum up. Although it's fast for a rental kart, we don't want to scrub off any speed we don't need to. And even a fraction of a mile an hour faster on the exit of a corner is going to be carried all the way down the next straight. And at Daytona, there are some big straights like this one leading down towards the end of the lap. Let's try and get a better exit this time. So we're slowing down earlier, I'm getting on the power earlier, and immediately look at my lap time gain. And I can see that on the Mocadamo Kart Buddy there. You can see it on the screen. Let's do one more lap before we bring this back into the pits. I absolutely love driving these Sodis. They feel so well balanced, and the punch off the corners is actually really impressive for a 4-stroke kart like this. We lost a tiny bit of time into the hairpin, but can we get a 15 on this final lap? We're about to find out. We're going to do it. 15.48 seconds. Let's bring this back to the pits. Right, that was awesome, but let's step it up a notch with the D-Max.
These 125cc 2-stroke D-Max karts really are the fastest rental karts in the UK. They produce nearly 30 horsepower and they're reserved for the most experienced rental kart drivers.
So these karts have a lap timer fitted as standard, so we're going to be using the Daytona system for this run, and our target to beat is the 1 minute 15.5 from the Sodi. We should comfortably beat that, but let's go try. Now the last time I drove these was in the Daytona 24 hours a few months ago. Let's reacquaint ourselves. And already this feels incredibly fast. We've got cold tyres to begin with, but look at the difference in terms of speed out of the corners. The two-stroke engine's giving us incredible acceleration, and I'll be very glad to have warm tyres in about a lap and a half time. Now in this car, I need to think much more carefully about when I apply the throttle and how hard and how late I apply the brakes, because we're travelling so much quicker and we've got so much more power than that Sodi car. This car can produce up to 30 horsepower, and weighing around the same as the Sodi, you can understand why we're going to be going so much quicker over a lap around Daytona Milton Keynes. But one thing two-stroke karts can suffer from is bogging down out of tight slow corners like hairpins. That's something we'll have an advantage with in the gearbox kart, being able to downshift through the gears. It feels like being back at home in these karts after doing hundreds of laps in them in the 24 hours back in May. And this kart feels fast. I can only imagine what the KZ's going to feel like in a few minutes time. So our target time was just 65.5. Let's see if we manage to beat that on our first lap out of the box. And we've gone over 7 seconds faster than that on our very first lap on cold tyres. But we're still a long way from the ultimate lap record in these karts of the 63, which was set by a much lighter driver on stickier tyres many years ago. At the time of filming, a very fast lap in these D-Max karts was around about 65 to 66 seconds. So we knocked another half a second off on that last lap. Let's see if we can go any quicker on this final lap.
Although I've driven many fast race cars and karts in my career, these D-Maxes always make me sit up and take notice, and this session was no different. It was difficult to comprehend how anything could go much quicker than a kart like this around this track.
67.4, another few tenths quicker, and if we stayed out for longer and let the tyres warm up more, I'm sure we'd go a lot faster. But I already feel warmed up now, and I think it's time to drive the kart you're all here to see, the 50 horsepower KZ gearbox kart. I've got a feeling this next kart is going to be a lot harder work. Now that was a lot of fun, but I think it's time for the main event. The two Daytona karts we had on offer here today were brilliant. Both of them have their own strengths, and both of them feel awesome to drive on this fast-flowing track here at Milton Keynes. But we now need to do the crazy challenge. We need to beat both of those lap times by a significant margin to take the honours of the fastest ever lap driven around this circuit. Let's make it happen.
The kart I was about to drive for this challenge was supplied by race team Clark Motorsport, and the really astonishing thing is, you could drive this too. They actually hire this kart and some slightly more sensible Rotax Max karts for anybody to drive on test days at tracks around the UK. And for more information on that, or to find out about any of the other partners featured in this video, check out the links in the description below. But fortunately for me, this wasn't my first time ever in a KZ car, as I'd had the privilege of driving a handful of laps in my friend Kieran's kart at Dunkerswell last year.
I haven't really had much of a time to say. I've been so excited about today. This is like kid at Christmas kind of thing. I've been coming to this circuit for over 23 years. That gives you a bit of an idea of how many laps I've done around this place, and I've never driven something as cool or remotely as cool as this. In this first session, we're going to be going out on used tyres. Everything's cold, and I've got a lot to get used to. I've got a feeling Daytona Milton Keynes is going to feel a heck of a lot smaller in this kart. How many laps will it take before the brakes are up to temperature?
Brakes, probably 1 lap. Tyres will be in within the lap.
So we're going to have to lift and pull backwards. We're going to be driving most of this track one-handed. So drop the clutch and a bit of gas, I guess. And we're in first at the moment.
Yep. Right, ready?
Yep.
Go, drop clutch.
Okay, so we need to get some temperature in these tyres, because already it's actually slower than the rental cars with cold tyres. Once we've got some temperature, I think it's going to be a lot quicker. Absolutely no grip at the moment. Let's get some temperature and get used to the car.
Even on an exploratory lap on cold tyres, this kart felt incredible. But we had a limited window of time to get these fast laps in, so I knew it would be important to make the most of this practice run.
Wow, this is pretty fast. I need to keep the kart in its rev range, otherwise it falls down like that. Wow, it feels so cool. Right, now we're getting some tyre temperature.
So as you can see, we actually broke the lap record on our first lap, but our mission was to obliterate it, so there was plenty more to come. This was our old set of tyres, and they weren't even warm yet. What I needed now was a nice trouble-free run to maximise this amazing car.
Right, we need to come in because I can't see the temperature on the screen, and I don't want to overheat the engine, so we're going to come in.
Fortunately, the temperatures were fine, and we just had the Alfano set to the wrong information page. But little did I know that on the next run, I was about to encounter much bigger problems. It started off well, with no issues on the outlap, but by the time I got to the first flying lap, I began to experience severe engine cuts.
Something went wrong there. The engine died. The engine keeps dying.
And despite actually beating my own new lap record by 3.5 seconds, it would continue to have that same problem for the following 4 laps, so I was forced to end the run to see if we could fix it.
Why is the engine dying? The engine keeps dying. Let's talk to Wayne, the team boss, and see if he can diagnose it.
Okay guys, you will have seen we're having mechanical problems. We've broken the lap record, that's fine, but although that's what we were here to do, we wanted to demolish it, and so far we've not got close to doing that. So we need a trouble-free run. We need the kart to not cut out, obviously, and you will have heard that happening quite a lot. I think we're losing 3 or 4, maybe more seconds per lap. So mid-55s are still the target. The guys are just trying to change the carb at the moment to see if that's what it was. We thought maybe it was that we were too low on fuel, but that isn't it. So we're gonna try changing the carb. We've got about half an hour left to go. Let's see if we can get this done. Let's just do the carb, let's just try it.
With our time on track running out, Wayne worked like crazy to try and get the carb changed and get us back out with enough time remaining to set a fast lap. But with cold tyres and very few laps under my belt so far, I was going to have to learn how to get the most out of this car in a very short time. So it was now absolutely crucial that we had no problems with the car so I could get my head down and just drive fast.
Okay, one last try. We've got 8 minutes to do this. We're not going to know for another lap or so. We need to get some temperature in these tyres.
I was fully aware just how important these final laps would be, but I wouldn't know until the engine was hot and I was on a push lap whether or not I'd still have the same problems. Would I finally get a clear run at a fast lap record pace, which did this kart justice?
Here we go then, first flying lap.
So far, so good. The kart seemed to be behaving, and I hadn't noticed any problems with the engine so far.
it's cut out, it's cut out, it's cut out. It's doing it again, so we haven't fixed it. Okay, the cart's still cutting out. We're gonna have to go as quick as we can with the problem.
But the issue with that was, the problem seemed to be getting worse. I was getting more and more frequent engine cuts as the laps progressed, making it very hard to build tyre temperature, get into a rhythm, and extract the maximum from the kart. The problem was clearly persisting, and even though I managed to shave another 1.5 seconds off of our best time, I clearly wasn't able to use the full potential of this kart. It would later turn out that the kart was simply not suited to this circuit with its current carburetor jet settings, and was essentially throwing so much fuel into the engine that it was flooding in the middle of the corners, causing it to cut out. In short, we'd underestimated how tight some of the corners were, and there was very little me or the team could do to fix it. And although I was desperate to improve upon our lap time, I knew time was running out, and over the next 5 laps I was stuck in the 59s every single time. Until finally, we just ran out of time. It seemed like our opportunity had been lost. But then, on the in-lap, I noticed something. Through some of the corners where the kart had been cutting out for the entire run, it now seemed to be working, and it began to dawn on me that the combination of cooling the engine down and using less throttle on the approach to those tighter corners might be a way of getting around our problem for one flying lap. It wouldn't be perfect, but I suspected we could gain a lot of lap time if it worked. We'd already used up our allocated track time, so I pleaded with the Daytona officials to let me have one more lap.
I've just managed to make it work. In the last lap, I've just managed to make it work by backing off early. Can I do one more flyer? One more flyer.
That was all I needed to hear. This was now make or break, one flying lap, caution to the wind. I decided to keep cooling the kart down on the outlap, and that meant our tyres would be far from the ideal temperature at the beginning of the flyer. And although I'd driven several laps by this point, our problems had meant that my driving certainly wasn't as polished as I would have liked. But I wasn't going to waste this one final chance to set a lap time that we deserved. I opened up the final corner as wide as I could to get the fastest run across the start line, and then it was time. Done it. Right at the deck, we managed to get the mid 55-second lap time we were looking for. And it was safe to say that everyone involved in the project was pleased and very relieved.
Down earlier, went one gear higher and went...
So there we have it. We certainly did not have a trouble-free day there. You've seen it in its full glory. And what we think it was is the kart really not being designed to run on a circuit quite like this. We've got so many tight hairpins. I think we were chucking so much fuel into the engine, it was over-fueling, and that's what was causing the cutout. But as you saw, we were losing several seconds per lap where I was on throttle and nothing was happening. That was until the final lap when the Daytona officials very kindly let me go once more. It wasn't perfect, but we came here and did what we set out to do, and that was obliterate the outright lap record. We got down to a 55.7, that's nearly 8 seconds quicker than the fastest ever D-Max time here, so let's get that time up on the board. So So that's it from Daytona today. Thank you for watching this crazy lap record attempt. Thank you to Mokadamo for providing the lap timing system that we used in the Sodi kart. Check out the link below if you'd like to get one of those for yourselves. Thanks to KKC and Alfano for providing our lap timer that we used on the lap record kart. And if you'd like your own Alfano equipment, click the link in the description below for discounts on all of that equipment and other products at KKC. If you'd like any of the merch I've been wearing during this record attempt, you can check out the Zenduri store in the description below. Grab yourself a t-shirt, a hoodie or a baseball cap. And finally, if you'd like to receive a free email newsletter telling you all about the best affordable and achievable rental and owner karting events happening in the UK and worldwide, click the link in the description below to sign up, and then you won't miss out. Thanks to Team Use More KERB for staying right until the end of this video. And until next time, thanks for watching. Love you, bye.